Well, I'm sure we all got other places to go, people to meet, things to do after the meeting. So I know I have another 11 o'clock Zoom meeting, so I hope to get it done in an hour.
All right, we're now live on YouTube. Let me just do a quick assessment of the attendance. Congratulations, Rensselaer County. You have 100% attendance today.
Right.
Right. I figure a nice day like today, everybody would have been home turning over their garden or something, getting ready to go.
Well, we do have a
Did
quorum,
that
Mr.
yesterday.
Chairman.
Yesterday. We do have a quorum?
Yes, I can call the roll for you just for the record.
Okay.
Albany County, Kristen Swinton.
I'm here.
Anybody else from Albany County join? Rensselaer County, Scott Bendet. He was here before. He's on this porch right there.
Sorry, I was muted. Here.
It's okay. Judy Bressler,
Here.
Jim Shaughnessy,
Here.
Mike Stamwell,
Here.
Jackie Stallone.
Here.
Thanks, Jackie. Saratoga County, Joe Grasso.
Here.
Amy Standard,
Here.
Craig Warner.
Here.
Anyone else from Saratoga County? Schenectady County, Don Ackerman,
Right here.
David Hogenkamp,
I'm here.
Gary Hughes.
Present.
Anybody else from Schenectady County join us? Hearing none, I noticed Larry Schillinger arrived in the meeting. I'm assuming that's Larry. And then we have two phone numbers of folks that have called in. One ends in 5340.
That is me, yes, Joe Landry.
Okay, thanks, Joe. And we also have a number ending in 0743.
Mark, it's Todd. I'm also on the camera.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd. All right.
All righty. Hey, welcome everybody to the meeting of the Regional Planning Commission for the 10 p.m. here on 10 a.m. on Wednesday, May 19th. We've already gone through the welcome and introductions, I think, is through the roll call. Next will be accept the March 17, 2021 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Is there any questions?
I will note that Barbara Morrow just joined the meeting.
Hi, Barbara.
I needed my second cup of coffee, Mark. That's why I'm 5 minutes late.
I hear you. Okay, is there a question on the minutes for our last meeting? You were going to note something, Mark? Was that it?
No, I think we're all good.
Okay. If there's no question on the previous minutes, is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So moved. Mark, could you move forward on financial statements?
Yes. So we sent the bills to the counties. So we should be all squared away for 50% of the revenues from the counties through this point of the year. We've billed all of our granting agencies for the Q1. So that's reflected in our revenues. We're tracking at 30% to expenses and 30% to revenues. Par for this time of the year is 33%. So we're tracking slightly under, and that, is we're a month behind receiving revenues because we're looking at April financial statements. On the balance sheet, we had just over $220,000 in the bank. with total receivables of just over $200,000. So we're in a good cash position. Of note, on our accounts receivable, we're still owed, it seems like we've been owed this amount of money for more than a year from the Department of State, $54,000, which is still in our banks. And I know Martin has been using all of his charm and influence to get the Department of State and the Comptroller's Office to approve that contract. And I think it's been approved. So hopefully we should get paid for that shortly.
Don't give up,
You
Mark.
give me too much credit. We had a contract, we had an award letter. That's I just kept referring to. You gave us the award. We need a contract.
That's great.
Any questions?
Any questions on the financial statement? If not, is there a motion on the floor to accept?
Moved.
So moved.
Motion made, seconded.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
So moved. Thank you. The internships are back. Let's go. All right, Mark, who we got? Where are we going with it?
Two types of internships. I'm requesting the board approve a new application to the NYSERDA Clean Energy Internship Program. This would be to replace one of our interns who we engaged for, I would say, the first half of this year. So a new internship position funded under that program at 90% for the remainder of the year. And the estimated expenses related to that position would come in at just under $5,000, again, of which about 90% would be funded by the grant. And the next one is our traditional Cdrpc planning internship program, which typically goes to a graduate student in the planning department at UAlbany or Rockefeller College or other related program fields. This position is anticipated to pay $14 an hour, and it would roughly cost us $11,000 for the rest of the year. And that's based on working relatively full-time during summer months and part-time, about 20 hours a week during the fall semester. I would anticipate that the lion's share of that $11,000 for the internship program would be covered by our granting programs, UPWP, 604B, and other grant-funded programs. And you'll see the requested budget amendments to fund these two positions in the subsequent budget memo.
That sure is an expenditure, and I know the internships help us immensely. Takes a load off the other work that needs to be done. So there's an expenditures. Any questions on interns?
Nope.
No, I wish we all had a couple. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Moved.
Motion made and accepted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will use that as the second. Oh, here's one of my favorite words, flex spending. That's go ahead, Mark.
Well, flex spending account has been around for a while, and I know a lot of us are familiar with what they are, but it allows for people to spend pre-tax money that they receive through their salary on a variety of expenses, including health and dependent care. Cdrpc does not currently have a flex spending account. I will attest from my own personal experience using my wife's flex spending account that it's very helpful, particularly for things like childcare and healthcare expenses that are not covered by your insurance, for example, co-payments and otherwise. So I'm proposing that Cdrpc establish an FSA account. I asked our office manager, Amy, to do a little research. One of the good options for us, given our healthcare provider, is the plan offered by CDPHP. That plan has an administrative cost of $5.25 a month. Roughly, a few $100s it's going to cost Cdrpc, which gets rolled into our overhead expenses, our fringe benefit expenses. I'm proposing to create an FSA that funds health expenses, so co-pays and other out-of-pocket expenses for health that are eligible. Under that, employees would receive a debit card to pay for those expenses, sort of a flex spending debit card. And the other bucket I'm proposing creating is dependent care. Dependent care would be a reimbursement-based program based on employees, what employees have contributed to their savings account, their flex spending account. I'm not proposing Cdrpc match any employee contributions to the flex spending account. just administer the account on behalf of CDRPC. Our financial officer, Tom, in a previous life was the corporate benefits financial officer for a variety of large institutions. So he's completely comfortable setting up these things. You know, all things considered, employees contribute to the program with their own money and they draw down their own money to pay for these expenses. There is a circumstance, which I want to make the board aware of, that CDRPC has to make available funding for the FSA account when employees need it. So there's a slight chance, like an employee who decides to max out their FSA account and then decides to leave, you know, at the end of the first month of the year, they may be able to spend all the money before they've contributed all the money. That does not apply to dependent care. That just applies to whatever health, the health FSA aspect of it. So it's a relatively low risk scenario, but I wanted to make the board aware of it. But it will be a benefit to the employees, particularly those with young children, and Tara and Jill both have young children, and myself. However, I'll still be on my wife's flex spending account. And Jill welcomed a new baby girl into the world a couple weeks ago, baby Isla, a healthy
Congratulations.
baby girl, add to her growing family. So there's another relatively almost no cost benefit that we can provide to our employees, which I think will be extremely helpful.
Well, I can sure see the need of it, especially in this day and age of the way where everybody's either working from home or trying to adjust their family care needs, unless we're going to go out and just hire seniors. I don't see that happening. So, but on a question, is there anybody like to add anything to that?
Yeah, Mike, it's Joe Grasso. If I could jump in with two questions.
Sure.
So the first one, Mark, is I thought these programs typically are your withdrawal amount is limited based on the contributions. Is there a reason why we wouldn't have that policy? So
their contributions are capped. So the health contribution is capped at about $2,500 and the dependent care is capped at about $5,000. The dependent care is reimbursement. So you have to document that you've spent the money. So, you know, you'll get reimbursed after the fact. And the healthcare, we'd have to pre-fund, but then the employee contributions sort of pay us back over the course of the year. There are a variety of questions in the contract form that I'm asking the board to authorize me to execute that deal with what happens to any balances that are left over. Are we going to give the employees options to pull down the balance, say, for 60 days after the close of the year? There is a provision in there where employees forfeit any amounts left unspent to the employer and things like that. But the general caps on these programs are about $2,500 for the health and $5,000 for the dependent care.
I thought that you were referencing an example where we would have to cover a charge if somebody left before
Right.
they.
So that kicks in with the. So we need to make available the money into the account the first of the year. So hypothetically, if we have one employee, they max out their health contribution at $2,500. They spend $2,500 in the first week of the year on whatever eligible expenses they spend. And then they leave. That means we funded that account at $2,500, but they're not going to be contributing to their health benefits.
All right. Is that a requirement of the program or an option of the program that we funded up front on January 1st?
It's a requirement of the program that the money be in the account to cover the expenses.
All right. And then secondly, I mean, a lot of times organizations have these programs administered by an outside agency. It sounds like you're not expecting that to be required and that will self-administer.
So we have to pay an administrative fee to Cdrpc. They will provide to us all the requisite reports for us to administer the account, the FSA account. So they'll show us what those deductions are. We'll communicate those deductions to the payroll company, and then we'll monitor the bank account ourselves through QuickBooks.
All right, Mike, my questions have been answered. I'm good.
Thank you, Joe. They just fall back on that. Somebody uses their $2,500 and won't be contributing back again, like a lot of municipalities do when they maybe hire a police officer, a fire officer, fireman, and they go around and pay for all their training. Then they transfer to another place. we make them accountable for paying back the municipality. Is there a way that we can make them accountable for paying us back for that money rather than just eating a bullet?
I'll have to look into it. But, again, it's a very low probability situation. I mean, if somebody, I can look
Sign a
into it. I don't think we can. I think we just have to offer it, and if that happens, then it happens.
Well, it's a service being provided and we sign a contract to do that, then it's something that we should be able to hold them responsible for paying it back, I would think. Why should we put ourselves out like that? I mean, not saying it would happen, but I'm not thinking about today as much as I'm thinking about down the line if things change for somebody else, that's all. Okay, I know we have some of that stuff in the county as well as in the city here. So that's how it is. You want to be able to recoup that money when somebody just takes the money and runs, really is what they're doing, and taking a service and run. Okay, any other questions?
Mark, just from my understanding, what is our policy when, first of all, I'm not overly concerned. I think you have a good group of staff and employees and they care about the organization and want to try to do that. But what is the policy for the organization when it comes to paying out on sick time or vacation leave or anything like that upon leaving? Because maybe there's a way to just, work this in that, if you're looking to get paid on vacation time, we deduct it from the cost of this.
Right, that's exactly how we would need to approach it. So we have discretion to amend our administrative guidelines to address this. The plan offered by Cdrpc is agnostic. It doesn't require you to do it, but you in signing the contract, you can't add other things to it related to these kinds of provisions. So we would have to add our administrative manual to talk about it. The payout for unused vacation time is capped at 225 hours. There are some provisions for sick time and future contributions to your retirement, New York State retirement and things like that. But this could be added to that section to stipulate that, employees must pay back whatever contributions that they are owed that they've used or something like that. I'm sure there are models that we can examine.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Very good. Nice discussion. Anything further? There's motion on the floor to approve.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion made and accepted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have in a budget amendment there, a memo 2021 that was attached in your information. Mark, you want to elaborate?
Sure. This budget amendment essentially authorizes funding for the two prior agenda items, the internship programs and the flex spending account. You'll note in the budget amendments, it does include additional spending in the FICA lines and the workers' comp and disability insurance lines.
Very good. Any further discussion? Motion to accept the budget amendment?
So moved.
Motion made by Barbara, seconded
I'll second.
by Judy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Congratulations to Saratoga County with the CARES Act subaward. Let's go where we are with that. And we all want to.
So, yeah, we received notification from Saratoga County that they endorsed an application from the Saratoga Economic Development Corporation to receive their proportionate share of CARES Act funding for economic recovery work. The draft MOU is attached for your approval. The SCDC board has yet to approve it. So the board action I'm requesting from this body is to authorize me to negotiate the final agreement scope and language and authorize me to execute the agreement once it's finalized and approved by SCDC.
Now, are you going to bring that back for us or you want to do both? Is that it, Mark? You're going to?
Yeah, I would just want authorization to negotiate the final language of the contract. I don't think the scope is going to move too far off of what is proposed in the draft MOU. And basically, they're looking to do some recovery planning work, looking at economic resiliency, infrastructure resiliency, including the power grid, power systems, energy systems, sewer systems, road systems, cell phone service. So SCDC is going to be taking on doing this kind of work and engaging stakeholders to have this conversation to get a better handle on resiliency as it relates to economic development in Saratoga County.
Okay. Is there any further questions on the CARES Act question before you? Is there a motion to accept?
Moved.
Motion made and seconded?
Second.
Okay, Barbara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Thank you very much. Next, we got the CSO memo. Never done with those CSOs. I've been here
Well,
for
we're-
20 years. It seems like it's on the budget. It's on the end every year.
Well, we've reached a couple milestones. The marquee project of the entire 15-year control plan is the Beaver Creek Clean River Project, formerly called Big C. And without stealing any thunder, I'll turn it over to Martin just to walk us through the important updates related to the long-term control plan.
Thanks, Mark. C is, as Mark mentioned, is our big project. It's our most effective project, and it's capable of treating 100 million gallons of stormwater during a wet weather event. That's going to really help us move the program into meeting water quality compliance in the Hudson River. Obviously, communities have several smaller projects which are meant to address water quality, but also community initiatives such as surcharging and backups. But Big C is our big project, and that broke ground late last month. So if folks are in Albany around the Lincoln Park area, there's a giant hole being dug in the ground. It's quite a massive project. Two communities are relying on cash contributions to fund it. That's Green Island, a very small percentage, and then the city of Rensselaer, which got way ahead in their administration of long-term control projects, and they're operating on credit. The remaining communities are financing their shares of the project through the Environmental Facilities Corporation, which we call the bank. They are looking at updating their bond resolutions and project finance agreements with EFC in order to make sure that their financial contributions to the project all line up and they'll have enough cash available to draw down on. The project is estimated at just shy of $55 million. The City of Albany has managed to wrangle up $10 million of financing through EFC, another $5 million from New York State DEC, and they're still aggressively pursuing grant opportunities and principal forgiveness with those two agencies. The other communities are eligible for principal forgiveness with EFC through the Infrastructure Act, and so we're working on pursuing that with the communities that are bonding for their shares. That project is slated to be complete in late 2023. It's quite substantial. And that one is moving through. The big picture is we're in compliance with the long-term control plan order and consent, and we are on budget with our projects as expected when the communities signed the order and accepted the long-term control plan way back in 2013.
Very good, Martin. This is the big bite of the apple, this one.
This is. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I would think that with all the federal money for infrastructure and stuff, that Albany County might be able to, or Albany maybe come up with a few more dollars to lighten the load in the near future too. I would like to think.
Yeah, we're optimistic that we haven't seen the bottom of the bucket when it comes to grant money for this project. So communities are still aggressively pursuing that. And there's still obligations out there. You know, Cohoes has what we call a Little C project, which is estimated at $5 million. So we're optimistic that even if we can't get a bite of the apple, as you say, for Big C, there's still money left over for other community obligations, sewer separation projects in Troy, Cohoes, and City of Albany that need to move forward in the last phase of the program.
Very good. Good report, Martin. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Any other questions in regards to this?
Well, we do hope City of Albany is going to host some sort of ribbon cutting or kickoff event for this $50 million project. So far, they haven't done that, but we wait for the invitation, and we've made ourselves available to assist with any.
Well, they haven't made the hole big enough to kick us all into and cover it up. That's what it is.
It's a good opportunity to have folks like, you know, the commissioner of DEC and the head of EFC there for, you know, what we characterize as a classic golden shovel moment. They've given a lot of money to these projects. And I think that goes a long way towards advocating for more funding. And there's 6 communities at stake. So if I'll gently ask folks if they happen to speak with leadership in Albany to gently prod them to say, hey, you know what would be really great is a press event for Big C.
Yeah.
That's the light lobbying I'll do, because it's good to celebrate our successes. We should be doing more of that.
Right.
For sure, and especially give credit to Cdrpc for guiding us through the whole process. I know it was a big challenge and is going through a couple administrations and a lot of board members to get to this point. So that's very good.
We got a good group of communities, so that makes our job a lot easier.
All righty, anything further on that? That was just a memo, that doesn't need a vote, right? So, okay, let's, next would be the amendment to the meeting scheduled for memo 21-12.
Yes, I have to apologize. Our meeting dates are normally set in stone. But this year, due to high demand for rental properties in Maine, we were unable to secure our vacation home for the last week in July. So only the third week in July is available, which conflicts with our meeting. So I humbly request that the board approves amending our meeting schedule to shift our July meeting to July 28th.
Move.
I think it's fine.
I'm good with it unless,
I'm fine with it.
all righty.
You
So,
can invite all of us to Maine and we'll just have the meeting there. How's that sound?
there we
So many
go.
volunteers to watch my children out.
Hey, bring them with you. That's what we all had to do.
That's right.
Whenever we- Okay. So what do I need a motion for that to change?
Yes.
All right. Is there a motion to change the meeting to the prior week?
Got it.
Motion made, seconded.
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Thank you. Staff reports. All right. The meat and the
Really?
potatoes.
Really quickly, so we've received, continue to draw down the CARES Act money with the Saratoga Award. We will have executed MOUs to subaward $200,000 of the $400,000 to the counties for recovery efforts. We launched our economic recovery dashboard, which got some positive attention in the media, specifically related to the change of address data that we were able to get from the Postal Service, which is good. Dashboards are still available for each county, and they continue to be maintained by our staff, Josh Tossi, and our consultants at eImpact. The leadership round of Clean Energy Communities Program continues apace. Our outreach coordinators are continuing to set meetings and engage stakeholders and partners in the new program. Jill Hank is on paid family leave until, well, basically for 3 months, and filling in for her is our Clean Energy Community intern, Haley Balkanoff, and obviously working closely with Tara Donadio. Bringing on the new intern will also help fill the gap there as well. Martin Daly has been leading the way on our spring planning and zoning training series. This continues our successful virtual training series that we launched last year. This spring offering, we are hosting about a dozen training events available for planning and zoning board members to earn their required 4 hours of training credits. In addition, members, certified planners like myself can also earn certification maintenance training credits for this programming as well. Happening on Wednesday, the cost of entry is $15. It gives you access to all the live presentations and recordings.
When did you
Josh,
say that was again, Mark, the date?
Wednesday webinars. So they're every Wednesday until early June.
Oh, webinars. Okay, I thought you were saying that we're getting together maybe personally, and God forbid we have a meeting face to face. Yeah, okay, I hear you.
You know, we will consider doing an in-person training events again. You know, the economics of doing them virtually is pretty attractive, but there is obviously a benefit, a significant benefit to getting people together in person in a live format training session. But the cost of entry of doing that is substantially higher. You may recall that, you know, when we were planning our 2020 budget, we budgeted about $17,000 to fund 2 in-person training sessions.
Mhm.
So it's expensive to rent space and feed people, but
We can always work the Hudson Valley Community College stuff out, you know, bring everybody over to the right side of the river.
well, I know we have some board members who may be able to influence their budget amounts. And I can follow up the people to talk about that if we look to the spring.
Arm twister.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we continue to do data updates. We sent out our latest newsletter, I believe, yesterday. featured the work that we've been doing in our technical assistance program. We're partnered with Cdrpc on. To date, we launched the program in 2018, and we've completed about more than 15 projects as a total value and effort of about $180,000. So significant benefit we're bringing back to our communities and our counties for projects that are helping them do what they want to do, which is good. Sustainability projects, again, the outreach coordinator is doing a great job. The Heat Smart campaign is kicking off. They're invested in a variety of advertising and additional promotion for the Heat Smart campaign. You'll see that in your staff report, the specific updates on the technical assistance projects, which are good. In terms of economic development, Kate Maynard continues to provide assistance and connect people with a variety of funding opportunities, whether it's EDA, the Northern Border Regional Commission. We hosted a webinar on our foreign trade zone yesterday in partnership with CEG and the Port of Albany, making sure that we're priming the pump for any operators or any businesses that are interested in the benefits of the foreign trade zone, particularly as it relates to supply chain for the offshore wind opportunity at the Port of Albany. You want to just touch on that, Kate, briefly, the webinar?
Sure. Just to add to what Mark kind of gave as an overview, we considered a real kind of relaunching point just to build awareness in the region for foreign trade zone as a tool. So we had a good cross section of attendance, definitely a lot of our economic development connector folks to hopefully connect to manufacturers that could utilize this opportunity. We also see some potential one-on-one sessions, especially through our partners at CEG and the port. For example, two suppliers of the wind energy portion, which, as we know, is a growing part of the sector here in the region. So overall, I think that workshop went great. Consultants we got, I think, did a really nice job explaining a complex program in a fun way, right, Mark? And so I think it was a good relaunch, and we look forward to further conversation.
Thanks, Kate. It was a bit gimmicky. The guy came with a hockey stick and an RPI jersey, because that's the audience he was dealing with. But yeah, it was very informative. It's a complex program, and you really need that one-on-one hand-holding to communicate to businesses how they can benefit from it. But there are significant benefits, and we want to make sure nobody's leaving it on the table.
Just a quick question on that. Kate, why do you think that the foreign trade zone isn't as popular as it was a couple of years ago? I know there was some change in its policies and stuff. What seemed to bring it down, and now we're trying to reinitiate it?
That's a great question, Mike. And it's one that I kind of asked myself, coming on board 2+ years ago, because at that point and currently we have one user. So AMRI is our one user currently. So in the initial outreach to manufacturers and others who might again be able to connect to others, I've sensed the complexity of the program. I think it is an initial hurdle. You see people's eyes glaze over as much as you try to boil it down and make it understandable. So I think there's that initial connection point, hence the somewhat gimmicky FTZ workshop, just to try to reach people in a different way, especially when they're potentially zoomed out. And I think it's connecting to those, which is a select market, those who import that can actually utilize the program as intended. So I think it's a little bit more of a select audience. And also the complexity are the two things I would say I've noticed in my outreach to folks about it. But we're going to keep working on those, obviously, and try to get to those who can use it.
Thank you.
I mean, I think the big challenge is time. So as I mentioned, it requires a lot of hand holding, and Kate can devote maybe 5%, 6% of her time to the foreign trade zone. It's not as significant at this point revenue generator for Cdrpc. So we're looking at other creative ways to leverage some pro bono work from consultants who would stand to benefit from, getting hired by businesses to help them develop their FTZ program, and other ways that we can get the word out without having to convert Kate's job to full-time FTZ.
Yeah, it's not there. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Another thing just to put on your radar, the CARES Act, Cdrpc got $400,000 in funding, similar to the other economic development districts across the country. The latest recovery bill allocates 3 times more to the EDA than the CARES Act did. So I know EDA invested significantly in standing up a program to allocate the CARES Act money. We've been hearing from our national association that they may, use the same infrastructure to distribute the additional recovery money. So Cdrpc could be in a position to receive some significant additional funding for the kind of work that we've been assisting with for the past year in terms of CARES Act. And we've been advised that the grant money funding available for infrastructure and other kinds of projects from the EDA is going to be likely increasing. And this is obviously depending final negotiations in the federal level, but there could be a significant windfall of grant funding for infrastructure and also technical assistance that we can provide coming from the latest recovery bill. So, it's 3 times more than they got in the CARES Act, and it's 10 times more than their traditional annual budget. So there's significant money moving, and we'll be in a position to help, our region benefit as much as possible from that.
That's good to know, to get a head start on that. Very good. That's good information. Thank you.
On to water quality, we heard the update for the CSO. Martin has been working with Todd Fabosi to do a variety of planning for watersheds related to the Tomahawk and the Watervliet Reservoir under our 604B program. I'd like to thank Todd for doing all the complicated mapping tasks related to that program and our technical assistance projects, and continuing to lead the way with our Clean Energy Communities program planning, which not only involves our outreach coordinators, but coordinating the team of subcontractors and partners in the North Country, Mohawk Valley, and Hudson Valley. So thank you very much, Todd. Any other quick updates, Todd, that I may have missed from the Clean Energy Communities program?
I don't know if you can hear me. I'm having problems with slow internet today for some reason, but no, we had a big statewide webinar yesterday that we hosted on climate smart communities. So that was well attended, and it's just part of our overall way of continuing to promote the program. But you've covered it. We're engaged with lots of communities right now and moving them forward on the new program.
Great. Thanks for your leadership on that, Todd. Human Services, that's our juvenile secure detention facility. We've experienced some significant challenges in the first quarter, including a COVID outbreak among staff and youth in the facility. There's an ongoing staffing shortage, which is affecting our operators' ability to intake youth. But as the CDYCI board heard this morning, there's an action plan to recruit more staff, retain staff, and bring up salary levels to meet where the market is right now for those kinds of positions. We've also launched a vaccine incentive program to provide incentives for staff at the facility to get the vaccine. Only less than 10% of the staff in the facility have reported that they have been vaccinated at this point, and they were in the 1A eligibility category. So there's significant hesitancy. So using education programs, and now we've approved a $100 incentive campaign for the staff to get vaccinated. So news clips, you can see that the attached news clips, we've been getting some good media coverage for the work that we're doing, including the data dashboard and otherwise. So, we continue to hope to do things that are relevant and interesting. Good coverage. Any questions? Just like to again thank the staff, for their tremendous work and working through these challenging times. It's good to see people in the office when they come here, but staff are continue to do a tremendous job.
Just a quick question on it, Mark, with the new CDC requirements there, at least for office work and stuff like that. Most communities, a lot of communities now, even I know us in City Hall and in the county, are now making the mask optional. What are we doing for our staff and people coming in?
I updated our COVID safety action plan to make the masks optional. Basically, if you cannot demonstrate that you've been vaccinated, then you have to wear a mask. If you can demonstrate that you've been vaccinated, then you don't have to wear a mask.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's good enough for me. I guess demonstrating is, I know there's still this query about demonstrating whether or not it's a HIPAA requirement or not. And I know some people don't want to provide that type of information. Some people just can't get the shot because of their medical condition as it is. But just as long as we got a policy in place, that's all that matters. All right, thank you. So are we moving on to other business? Anything else on staff reports? Very good. Pretty active group this past quarter. Very good. Other business. Anybody got anything for other business? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Mark, I did want to ask you about, there's a lot of people putting, a lot of organizations putting in for FEMA recouping funds that were lost during FEMA that may affect the businesses. Is that something that we're looking at Cdrpc? I meant to ask you that the other day on our call and I forgot,
I have not looked into it, but we have not been significantly impacted by the pandemic in terms of our granting revenues or our county revenues. So,
and Youth Detention Center, is that has any significant loss that we could recoup funds with?
there really no loss in the detention center. I think with the advent of the specialized secure detention facility for the older youth, 100% of that operations, which accounts now for 60% of the cost of the facility, is 100% reimbursable. I know I just threw out a lot of numbers, but the lion's share of the cost of the detention facility are 100% reimbursable to the counties.
Right.
40% right now are 49% reimbursable. So the county's out of pocket is really less than 25% of the total operations cost of the juvenile detention facility. And, we have not been impacted by the pandemic in a way that would make us eligible for that, any kind of recovery funding.
Okay, good, just needed to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else on other business? Next commission meeting date?
July 28th. Thank you very much, folks, for changing the date.
Okay. Anything further? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
So
that.
moved.
Motion by Judy, seconded. Okay,
David.
by Greg. With that being said, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Get out there and enjoy this beautiful day before the rain comes down and hits us on the weekend, but
Okay.
enjoy as much as you can get. Thank you,
Have a good
everybody, for
day.
participation.
Stay on.